Okay, it is time for the Dhamma talk. To start the Dhamma talk, everyone may consent it 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Cittavata panabhogottama sacchanupatti hoti. Cittavata sacca manupapunati. Sacca manupapunanang mayang bhavantang gotamang puccissamati. Dear Dhamma friends, today is our 3rd day in the retreat. Accordingly, is the time for the Dhamma talk, the 3rd one. And throughout the series, we were keeping the particular discourse known as the Chanki Sutta as the main topic. And for the first day, we have taken basically to introduce the early part of this particular sutta. It is talking about the preservation of the truth. It is one of the characteristics of the human kind when compared with the other beasts and other animals. The humans are, specifically the cultured beings, always have kind of or set of beliefs considered as truth. So they think it is their prime duty to preserve them and pass it to the second generation. So that is how the old knowledge came along the lineage. So therefore, the preservation of truth is part and parcel of our life. If someone is not doing that, we don't consider such a civilization as a traditional. The traditional civilization always have that kind of a body of knowledge passing from the parents to the children, teachers to the disciples, and it is going on. So the Buddha, with his omniscient knowledge, he found there are 5 different ways or 5 different attributes with that only one can do this preservation of the truth. For that, the faith is very important, the belief. Otherwise, you will never preserve. And the second thing is, you must take your own approval, your desire, and your liking for that particular truth. Otherwise, you will never preserve it. And the third one is the knowledge, the book knowledge, the theory knowledge. It itself must be very highly regarded and respected throughout the lineage. So therefore it is came down with a respectful manner. So then only one feel like it is valuable and precious to preserve. And the fourth one is, if at all it is to be preserved, it must be a rational one. It is something that can be deduced by the rational knowledge. Otherwise, it will not considered as worthwhile. The fifth one is, according to that particular set of teachings, body of knowledge, if one contemplate, he can get some acceptance and kind of achievements. That is why the meaning of the preservation. So therefore the Buddha says that there are 5 that kind of ways and means, but all the teachings and all these body of knowledges are not leading to the final liberation. Therefore, among these teachings, among these bodies of knowledge, there are some sectarianism. And final lead is to understand which one is the kind of knowledge leading to the final liberation. on that respect, the Buddhism and the Hinduism is now in the argumentation the Buddha represent. He shows his own teaching, of course yet not yet presented, but the Kapatika, the young person who is questioning, he is representing this Brahmanical or Hinduistic tradition. So they are without personal criticism each other, on principles the Buddha says, he who ever taken these 5 ways to preserve it, it is not worth, it is not nice to say this is the truth, besides the rest of the others are false. If it is going to, if that is the way you are going to do, it is in the present day language we can say you are making sectarianism. This sectarianism is the worst thing in the religion. The religion in the outlook, it says it is talking about the well-being of the human being or the beings. But as soon as the sectarianism comes, it becomes brutal. It is leading to wars. It is leading to the white war, holy war, all the kind of thing. So the Buddha there, carefully, he removed that negative element. He says, it is worthwhile to take these 5 criteria, the faith, your own approval, and the lineage came from the teachers, and rationality, and penetrative capacity, and all the kind of thing. But soon you are going to say, this is the truth, rest of the, besides the others are false. That is not up to the mark for a person who is preserving such a truth. It is a very good, very clear, open the table point the Buddha make, and have not only the credit of the Buddha, the Kapatika himself accepted. Yes, and Buddha shows why it is, because as I tried to explain in the very first day, even if you take it as your faith, that may be just hollow, just negative, that will be false. What you have rejected as not your faith may be the truth, it may be the essence, and it may be unmistakably carrying the truth. So thus, susaddhahitam tucchang musa ritta. Even if your saddha is full, it may be completely devoid of the truth, hollow, and false. Saddhahitam asaddhahitam eva tachang ananyata. Satchang tachang ananyata. Even if you are not believing, that may carry the truth. That may carry the unmistakable the truth that is throughout for all the 5 criteria. So each and every of us must be very careful whenever we are talking with others and when we are listening to others' viewpoints. If anyone says, or even if us to happen to say that this is the truth, which others are wrong, that itself is you are disqualifying to at least to preserve the Dhamma, to preserve the truth. So Kapatika in that sense is ready to change, and he asked the Buddha understand the disadvantages the next stage, whereby Buddha says that it is only to the preserve but not to understand it. In order to the Satchanubodha. So then the Kapatika is asking, what is the way to understand it, to get into it? Satchanubodha. Then the Buddha come out and say, you have to find a good teacher. You have to find a good, the noble friend, and that is the starting point. So in order to understand the noble friend, you being as a commoner, you being as a normal samsaric being, what are the things you have to look into the characters of the teacher or a noble friend. or spiritual leader, he must be free of desire, free of hatred and free of delusion. And therefore, he must not claim that I have seen without really seeing. He must not claim that I know exactly without knowing. And he must not be a misleader of the society, giving wrong instructions. And he must be a skillful person to explain this unexplainable, to explain these complex things, which explain that is not come under the argumentation and in a lucid language. Once that is being confirmed, only a person develop kind of trustworthiness. With that, if such a person is available, then onward the Buddha explain how to realize, how to go into, how to experience such a truth in number of ways. And saddha jato upasankamati upasankamanto pairupasati. Likewise, whenever such a faith arises, you feel like go and associate with him. This association leads to listening occasionally. While listening, accidentally, you come to know very profound things. Sotang hodai oita soto dhamman sunati. Suttva dhamman dhareti. Whenever you happen to listen such profound points, profound ways and means, it is natural thing to feel like preserving, feel like by hearting it. So one of the evolutionist that is believing on the evolution theory, he says for the evolution of our mind, for the evolution of our body, the truth is seen for once is enough. As soon as you see, amidst of all the misleading and ignorant teachings, whenever the truth comes, the person who is ready, person who is prepared, immediately get attracted. This is like a iron and a magnet. Whenever it is that you keep it, dharana, that means hold in your mind. And dhattva dhamma attam uparikati. Then only you can contemplate it. So he says like that, he is such a virtuous person. Will it lead to kind of a benefit? Is it possible to put into practice? Is there any other people also, those who are practicing, like you just rationalize it or deduce it? And that is the way, that is the benefit of keeping it in your heart, that means by hearting. And attam uparikanto nijjhana khamanti. Then you feel, yes, that is the only lacking point in my mind, that is the lacking point in my career. Therefore, I have to get it, I have to earn it, I have to sacrifice for that, I have to give in to that. Likewise, then you develop this kattukamyata chanda, or in Pali it's called kusala chanda, that is the zest, that is the striving, that is the faith that is resolute. You make your determination, I will do it. Once that comes only, you feel like practicing according to that. So that is the changeover point. That is the difference in our life whenever we take it to our heart and start to put into practice. Then onward, when and where we get a chance, we keep on practicing. So that Dhammajiva khamanti, that understanding or digestion, and then it leads to this kind of a resolute faith. And once that resolute faith comes, that you start to trialing and trying, keep on practicing yourself. So this is a very hard time, because it is a kind of going against the grain. So that is what usually in the present day situation, you take time for sitting meditation, walking meditation, going to a retreat, and sacrificing all your daily habits and your feeding habits, sleeping habits, get a distance from your dear and near ones, and do away with your properties and earnings, and then you start this kind of endurance. And once that is done, only you have your own trial and error, and you have your experience, then you can compare. In a normal day, for example, 23 hours, or majority you are thinking about earning something and getting political powers and get social status. 1 hour you think, keep the mind in the very present moment. And there you can experience, after a few weeks or months, this balance of the day, which you are unmindfully in running with this rat race. What is the end result? What are the precipitation with that kind of thing, and what is the effect of 1 hour of sitting or 1 hour of walking meditation according to this example. There you have some kind of a weighing and balancing and comparison, that doing all the kind of things to earn economic, political and social gains, and in meditation doing nothing, just keep the mind in the present moment. And then if you happen to come to know this very hour, it is not only keeping the mind in the zero level, balance level, it is giving kind of a healing effect. And after that hour, any question, any undecisive situation could be clearly perceived, and you can foresee things like that. Ultimately, you understand, even though you give little attention and little time for this one, that is the really thing going to get benefited in long run. Then only you keep on asking, adjusting yourself, how can I increase this time? How can I make it 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, like slowly, you start to think about ways and means of increasing it, because once you got the correct weight, correct measurements and priorities, it is very easy for you to continue. This is happening with long-term basis. In the long run, slowly you are increasing, and then ultimately you understand more than accumulation of wholesome deeds or kusala karma. The best thing is not to do wrong things. That is the lesson you are going to learn. More than try to be smart and gain positive marks, the best thing is not to do bad things. First, do no harm. The moment you understand, then onward you learn the secret in the life. That is called padhana, and then onward you try your maximum to restrain yourself. In our day-to-day life, our body is at full-fledged. It is almost up to physical misdeeds. No, we have no control. What time we are, according to our behavior, we will transgress the level of depriving others from their life. And we don't know where we are going to misappropriate other properties. We do not know where we are going to transgress or trespass according to the moral code towards the sexual behavior and the other sense pleasure. We don't know where we are going to utter a lie, we are going to lie. Even we have or not any intention, it can happen from the point of view of the other party. And tale carrying, slandering, harsh words. So then only you come to know, more you try to be smart, what happens is ultimately the physical and verbal misdeeds go beyond your control. So therefore you have to keep such a guard, such a restrainment to not to transgress these physical and verbal misdeeds. And therefore the restraining regarding these virtues or moral restrainment, at the beginning you feel, unless otherwise you go through such a mill, you think it is such a, you are putting yourself under a open prison camp. Why should I impose these kind of virtues or this kind of a restrainment as to morality? Many people are immoral. Why not I also get the mean advantage of such a society and entertain as much as possible this sensuous pleasure? But after going through whole only, you will understand really restraining is the only thing you can do, rather than trying to accumulate other merits. So that is how the person with such a how do you call that, evolution, only come to appreciate the virtues, the restrainment regarding this, the virtues of morality. And therefore, according to the teaching of the Buddha, if you are going to compare it, or rather get some quotation from the other suttas, the Buddha says the virtues or restrainment regarding this morality is only for wise people. Panyavantasa silang, silavantasa panya. If you are wise, definitely you are morally restrained. If you are morally restrained, that's a good sign for the wisdom. Vidya dadati vinaya, that is also some Sanskrit saying. If you have a kind of a discipline, that means you are a wise person, pandit. And if you are a pandit, you can see him through his behavior. So there are this padhana, this realistic restrainment happens with such a number of stages. And then you can come to know, you will come to know association with such morally restrained people, and there are more and more you go to such a association, such a circles, you find they are not just keep their moral restrainment, when and where possible, they keep on practicing the restrainment regarding the concentration. Because even if you take a hard and fast determination not to transgress physically and verbally, if you are going to live with immoral people, if you are going to live with the normal atmosphere which is always titillating or stirring toward the sense pleasure, that you are vulnerable. So therefore, only mere physical and verbal restrainment won't help in long run unless otherwise you train your mind. Because mind is the cursor in between, internal, so therefore you have to have a certain amount of restrainment regarding the mind. Otherwise this restrainment on the physical and verbal behavior is not assured. So therefore, the outer layer, the most rusted layer of our defilement is non-transgressional kind of defilements. That is what we are restraining through this moral training or restrainment regarding these virtues. And once that is successfully done, not 100%, but up to your mark, successfully done, only you will associate with such a moral people, and you will see such a moral people always keep kind of a deeper training, that is to call the concentration training, in order to make an assurance regarding your moral training. That is we call concentration training. The concentration training is basically geared towards these 5 hindrances. In the meditation circle, in the Buddhist teaching, These 5 hindrances are quite famous. It says that Kama, Chanda, Vyapada, Thina, Mitta, Uddhacca, Kukucca, Vicikicca. If I want to make a comparison between this physical and verbal training versus this concentration training, whenever you are transgressing physical and verbal misdeeds, the second person can see. You can't hide it. When you are killing, or when you are stealing, or committing any sexual misconduct, or lying, slandering, harsh words and tail carrying, a second person involved, that is called ethics. But when and where your mind get polluted with the lust, with the hate, with sloth and torpor, or slimy mind, or it is perpetuated, or scattered and bewildered, or when you are entertaining doubts, the second person may not notice it, but you know very well. Now my coloration of the mind is such, it is leading to sense pleasure. It is leading to the hatred to this thing or this person. Or it is very sleepy, sloth and torpor. Or it is very perpetuated, it is very scattered and bewildered because of these agitations. Or sometimes it is due to the doubts. So therefore, whenever this transgressional kind of defilements going to happen, you are more exposed to the outsiders, the second person. But when and where you are going to get this kind of hindrances, the second layer, you can hide it very well. You can still behave like a gentleman. But even internally you know that your mind is more towards the desire, more towards the hate, more towards this sloth and torpor, more towards this scattered mind, or more towards these doubts. So the moral training won't help it. For that, there's a set of different rules, different instructions as to concentration training. So moral training itself is somewhat spiritual, somewhat religious. But when you go to the road, you have to abide by the traffic rules. When you go to a Supreme Court court, then you have to abide by their rules. Wherever you go, when you go to the airport, there are rules. So these things are not claiming any kind of a spiritual law, any kind of a religious kind of thing. But when you are coming to the moral training, it has some kind of a taint on the spirituality and the religious kind of thing. But if you are to go to this concentration training, in that sense the spiritual trend is increasing. And you have to have this moral training as a basic qualification to go into this concentration training. So that is the point the meditation center come into being. That is the place you are searching about the forest dwelling. That is the place you feel like go under a tree. And not only that, you must have a standard set of instructions as to how you are going to use this time and what are the things you have to look into. So that is how we gather into a meditation center and under a teacher. And more than the moral training, in the spiritual training, it is becoming little by little scientific and very technical. And in this set of instructions we got in the very first day, once you come here, it has been trained under 3 methods: the intensive method, the semi-intensive method, and the extensive method. The intensive method is the what usually give common sense, because when and where we talk about meditation, we feel like sitting and practicing. That is our mental figure. That is our notion we have. So that is what we call intensive method. what you do is close your 5 doors out of 6 and open the vigilance of your mind onto your physicality, your body, and observe very carefully. That is the kind of a training we are doing. So, to go into more detailed and discrete way, one person, one being, one entity means 6 doors. The eye door, the ear door, the nose, the tongue, the body and the mind. So when we are under no restrainment, we do not know which door is working. In a sense, at a time we becoming a seer, immediately we can be a hearer, or a person smelling, person tasting, touching and thinking. And if you, without any kind of a meditative or religious training, if you are after finishing your day and about to sleep, and if you go and in the sleeping bed try to make an account balance, or you can reflect back and see where the place I was seeing, hearing, smelling, touching and thinking, simply there is no agenda. You can't claim that I have any kind of methodology, any kind of predictability, any kind of control that I must see rather than hearing, or I must hear rather than seeing. So there, the mind, the monkey mind, it is mad monkey mind, never give any assurance. So therefore simply you can see there is no agenda. Even tomorrow, if you are going to restrain yourself, you are completely bankruptcy. There is no assurance that when and where you can control it up to only to become a seer rather than hearer. You can't do it. Even if you do once, no, repetitively, you can't. So knowing that only, come into the meditation posture, you close your eyes, because if you keep it open, that is the most swift thing, most the vulnerable door opening for the mind. Eye is the most titillating thing in our day-to-day life. That's why if you going to go blind, that is almost near the death. Then onward the life is not useful, because eyes are not working. So therefore anything lovable, anything dear and near, we say it is just like my eye. Whenever it is gone bad, the whole life is very dark. So we keep our eye very open, and because that is the thing, keep up our mentality. Next to the eye, the ear. Then the nose, then the tongue. The least is the body. And all are happening to the priority selection of the mind. So knowing that, the Buddha says, if you wish to go more of the striving toward the restrainment of the concentration, samadhi, sikha, then you have to close your eyes. And then you have to go to a silent place. And then you have to go to a place where there is no bad or good smell. And you must stop talking, or either tasting anything. And then keep the body without much of pains. And ask the mind to observe, keep surveillance on the body. That is called kaya-anupassana. That is called dwelling on the contemplation on the body on body. If the body is working, if the body is changing its postures, it's very difficult for a beginner to keep the track with. So therefore you keep the body in such a way, it is maintaining the posture throughout. You are asked to just observe all the feelings, all the sensations, all the perceptions, and all the mental proliferations. and what is happening as far as the focus is on the body. So that is why it is being instructed. You just take simply comfortable sitting and just focus the attention, here now I am sitting. And that is the only point you keep the attention, the monkey mind, on the very moment, here now I am. Otherwise, where it goes, how swift, very difficult to predict, very difficult to keep the bookkeeping. So once you try to keep it, you understand how difficult it is. That is why the commentators it says, as if you are going to balance a melon, fruit of melon on a running horse. Horse also running, shape of the back also unstable, and you are trying to keep a melon. This is what kind of a restrainment, and when you keep on practicing, and at the beginners you may think it is hopeless, it is useless, because how can you keep the mind in the one particular place? But after practicing 1 day, 2 days, 3 days like, you feel proportionate to the effort you are taking, the endurance you are taking, sometimes it keeps the face to face with the object of meditation. So if you manage to keep the attention, here we would say the concentration, with the sitting posture, and there are no sounds distracting, if there are no bodily pains unbearable, if there are no thoughts full of daydreaming, fantasizing and kind of thing, you are lucky to keep the track with the body, and then you can feel it, the body is calming down. And the mind also falls calm and quiet on the body. And under such circumstances, you are lucky to see the minimum datum life of the metabolic action of the life that is to call in-breath and out-breath. So meeting up with the breath itself is an achievement on this concentrative, on the restrainment of the concentration. So then what you do is, knowing it is an endowment, an achievement, instead of the whole body, you focus the attention on the natural breath coming and going. In-breath, out-breath, in-breath, out-breath. And if you can keep on observe it, then you can easily understand the breathing taking place only in the upper part of your body, so easily you can forget about the passive part of your body, the lower part, and bring the attention to the upper part. And then still observe the natural breathing, in-breath, out-breath. When that is also happening, if you are lucky, the third calibration, the third fine adjustment is to get the touch of the breath to one single point. This is how the concentration training come to the one-pointedness. You give a big area, whole body, to the unrestrained mind and the undisciplined mind, and slowly bring it to the one single point. To cut the long story short, we will take an example. We take that end of the nostril. It is the gushing air. You can feel the in-breath and out-breath. It's an example. It can be any point, whatever may be. If you can get one point, single pointed, and you can clearly observe the in-breath versus out-breath. And while keep on practicing like that, as far as the attention in the here, I would say the awareness or the mindfulness, continue from the in-breath to out-breath, out-breath to in-breath, the kind of a concentration sets in. That concentration may be a pure concentration meditation, through pure concentration meditation, or through insight meditation, that we do not know. The concentration sets in. So if I am to get the come out with the criterion to understand for the listeners, so that he can discriminate whether I am a person with a concentration inclination or insight inclination, while you are observing or while you are keeping the attention either in your upper part of your body or in the particular touching point, is only the in-breath and out-breath, that incoming and outgoing air, the air draft, the air column is clear, that is an indication your tendency is more toward the concentration meditation. But on top of that, or in addition to that, still if you are clearly understand it is rubbing specifically on this particular point of my body, in addition to the incoming and outgoing air, so to say, in the in-breath is touching on the end of the left nostril and the out-breath is touching on the right nostril, or in and out both touching on the left nostril or right nostril, like that point also become prominent. And further, if you can discern the kind of sensation that you get from the rub of the in-breath versus out-breath, that means that your tendency is more toward the insight meditation. Your type of concentration you are gaining is the insight type. Put that in another way, the feeling of the touch to happen, there should have a contact of two things: the air column, the air draft, and the sensitivity of your nostril. These two come together, only you feel. The air column in this case we call the striker element, and the touching point we call the base element. The striker element come and strike on the base element, then only you feel. If you feel only the striker element, that's a good sign, your tendency is more toward the concentration. If you are a vipassana tendency, inclination, not only the striker element, that the air column, you feel the base element where that striking receives. And while these two come together, the ignition is, what is ignite is the coldness, hot, heat, stiffness, tension, movements, rubbing sensation, touching point, touch, all the kind of thing are outcome of this touch of the air column with the sensitivity of the skin. If you are to see the strike element, base element and the ignition element, that is the tendency is more towards vipassana. This is one way of understanding according to the present common language. So whatever may be, early part of your sitting is a concentration. That concentration, if you are well learned and if you are well versed with, you can understand with few sittings or few days time. Not only I am observing the in-breath and out-breath, I feel more and more day by day the confirmed manner, this is the touching point. And on top of that you can feel the difference between the in-breath touch and the out-breath touch. So you are opening your scope for all the three facets if your tendency is more toward the vipassana. But you are confining your experience only to the rubbing, only to the air column if you are a concentration type. Venerable Sariputta gave a very traditional kind of example. He says if a long, tall, straight tree fallen in the forest, a wood cutter go with the cross saw, two people sit together and start to cut that into the pieces. When you are cutting, if a person is observing only the movement of the saw, that is a simile for the observation of the in-breath and out-breath. So you are not worried about what is the cut and how the sounds happen, how the saw become heated and the people are moving, all are out. You only see the movement of the saw. So even that is enough, that means in the meditation. If you just see the air movement is taking place, and that is enough. But to get more precision, only it says, if you can feel the touching sensation, if you can feel the discriminate experience of in-breath and out-breath, that is facilitating more and more insight. So therefore you must not push someone onto that. Because some has the inclination, natural inclination, according to their the karmic forces, only the concentration. Some has the inside meditation. When that keep on practicing, what is happening is, if everything is conducive, that to say that no much of distracting thoughts, no much of bodily pains, no much of external sounds, the breath becomes slower and slower. The mind falls calm and quiet on the same point. And then your calibration has to be very subtle, just like tightrope walking. Or otherwise you are walking on a footbridge. When you go into the middle, it is shaky. You have to slowly, carefully maintain the balance, otherwise you will topple. So day by day you are going to the deeper layers of concentration. When this concentration happens, there's a question, how much you must go for concentration, how much you go for insight or vipassana. Where are the point you can change from concentration to the insight? It's a normal academic question, but it is a natural thing. If the concentration keep on going, the Buddha says, Samahito bhikkave yata bhutan janati passati. More and more the mind becomes samahita, that means concentrated. Its natural tendency is to see things as they are. There's nothing you have to do. But it's such a famous question in the discussions. How much you must develop the concentration, up to what jhanic level, then you can go into the vipassana. You won't believe, last time I applied for the visa to the Canada for the first time. And then the ladies, those who invited are known to this immigration people, they told that I have nothing to go for an interview. But anyway, the Canadian embassy insists that he must come for an interview. Then I surrendered, I told nothing to worry, I will go there. So when I go there, they look into my application and ask, why you are visiting Canada? Then I told, according to the instruction given, I am visiting Buddhist temples. And the other person on the in the desk behind the the bulletproof glass, he asked, not only that you are just visiting Buddhist temple, it appears that you are going to teach meditation. Then I told, if the people in the temple are going to invite me, of course I will have some discussions and I will have instructions, so I will do meditation also, but it depends. My first and foremost idea is to just to visit it. Okay. Then he asked, are you familiar with meditation? As being a Buddhist monk, that was my primary aim of becoming a monk. So I sometimes take this kind of things, endeavors also. Then he asked, how much you have to practice samatha meditation to change into the vipassana? You won't believe, in the interview to give the visa to Canada. Then I told, I am sorry, you have to sit under me for 3 days, then only I can see whether you have the inclination to the samatha or vipassana. It is not the matter that I am going to decide, it is not the matter that you can decide. Only what you can do is take an object of meditation and practice and see what is the inclination. Otherwise, by looking at your face or any other thing, I can't say it's a completely coincidence or practical thing. So once you practice, of course, I will try my best to see whether you have samatha inclination or in vipassana. There is no otherwise such a something like gearing the changing the gears in the car. He accepted it. And you know that for the sake of interest what he asked them. Then he asked that in your moral restrainment, and what are the verbal restrainment you have to do? Then I told, it is not to have wrong speech, not to slandering, not harsh words, and not tail carrying. Then he has no lying, no? then I told that is what I am telling, the wrong words, it's a lying, and it is the common term, but if you cut into 4, these all 4 comes. Then he asked, do you, or are you under the restrainment? Then I told, of course, as a monk, I have to. After going to Canada, will you come back or stay there? That is the statement he wanted. I came to my idea, is the Canada a country to live, being in Diana, Sri Lankan? But I never told because it will be antagonizing. Then I told, no, I am going for only 3 weeks. I am very busy, therefore I have no much of time. Then he gave the visa. So even he is asking where to change from the concentration to insight. So each and every one of you may entertain this doubt. But if you are really keeping the attention with the primary object, as and when the concentration develops, basically I am telling, if we are not entertaining doubts, with the due time, when the concentration comes up to the due maturity, naturally the insight sets in. Some people start right from the beginning. Some people has to go a certain amount of time with the development of concentration and naturally take the turn into the vipassana. So these are the points theoretician can't think about. By rationalizing you can't do it. It is not to philosophize. While you are practicing, it is such an obvious thing. But if you are studying the Buddhism only through the theory, by books, and kind of oratory, the people who's good orators, they don't know these kind of practical things. And even in the first, second times, you also won't believe, and you will ask and think where to stop concentration and go into the inside meditation life. And it is a natural process. Even this stage that where the Buddha explained how to Dhammanu, how to achieve the Dhamma, he never explained where to stop the concentration and where to start the vipassana meditation. He says while you are practicing, it is happening at the due time. And I would like to go further little into this experience. When and where you keep the attention more and more, if the concentration, either it is concentration biased to the pure concentration of insight, you find the meditation is easier. Object is more tamed. It is face to face with your the meditating mind. And you feel like going on, and you are, in order to keep your mind alert or vigilant or diligent or keep the focusing precise, you are being asked to see, if possible, of course it is little inclined to insight, the discrimination between the in-breath experience and the out-breath experience. But many can't come out with the proper answer. But if you keep it, what happens is, at the beginning you are bound to see this individual characteristics. It is called the common, the natural characteristic. The in-breath is such, out-breath is such. In-breath is cooler, out-breath is warmer. In-breath is long, out-breath is short. Or in-breath is short, out-breath is long. Or in-breath is a turmoil, or out-breath is a very calm and quiet flow. Many, many things you come to know. So therefore your interest is there. But as and when the concentration goes, the mind tends to see things as they are. When that happens, the mind naturally sees common characteristics more and more. When that happens, the balancing, the tulana, the comparison happens, mind loses the ground. As if you are in a dry, solid ground at the bank of a river, and in the river there is a boat. You are supposed to embark into the boat. So when you keep one leg on the ground and one leg on the boat, the leg in the boat appear very shaky, you feel like unstable. So what happens is, you feel like come back and come to the ground, which is more solid and established. But the boatman will say, please get into the boat. So how carefully you have to go from this solid to the liquid balance, how you balancing your, shifting your weight into the board, it is such a challengeful thing. Exactly the way when you are changing from the conventional world, which is only know the discrimination, it only knows the individual characteristics. And where the mind and the meditation going to learn this common characteristic, you get bewildered. You feel quite nauseatic. You feel quite challenged. And the doubts are going to pour in. You feel meditation becomes so boring. You feel meditation becomes so monotonous. Meditation becomes so uncertain. You feel lost. You feel like alienated. You feel like outcasted. And start entertaining doubts. This is the point the Buddha says, that tulana, after a certain amount of gathering of experience, you are definitely being challenged. And there what you do is, when this subtlety happens, when the common character starts, you sometimes unknowingly start force breathing in order to see the in-breath and out-breath more clearly. Or sometimes you feel like opening your eyes and see whether your other parts of the body is still intact or they have gone. Many terms you introduce because of your self-centered idea, because of your egoistic idea. So if someone to continue without preparedness, without instruction, is completely impossibility. So at that level you have to meet again and again experienced teachers and the colleagues and tell your situation, and they have to exactly give the instructions. This is the progress of your meditation. This is the chance that concentration is gives rise to vipassana or insight. So carefully shift the attention from this natural characteristic, intrinsic characteristic, personal characteristics to common characteristic. It is not so easy like these two words. When it is happening, it's really challenging. So therefore, the Buddha says, unless otherwise you are instructed, unless otherwise you are bold enough, you have the heroic energy to take this challenge and go, definitely you will be rotating in the same place, just like caught up into a vortex. Never you pass into the next stage. That is why the tulana, that is why the comparison happens. So at that moment, when this shifting happens, how can an unknown person, uninstructed person, explain such a thing to a teacher? Never it happens, according to my experience. Never someone will think that is something important to relate to the teacher. Because someone says it is my personal mistake, my past karma, or my wrong virtues. That is why something happened that I feel fearful, I feel bored, I feel monotonous. So best thing is to do with some buddhanusati bhavana or something like that, or give some dana, or give some meritorial things, because something wrong with the meditation. But if you are to explain it in such a precise way, it never happens. So therefore interviews, the meeting and direct interviews are very, very important. Otherwise, whatever effort you are going to put, never going to give a consistent experience, accumulation of the experience. So this is the very first place, when and where the common characteristics appears and the individual characteristics become less and less, everyone feels nauseatic, everyone feels challenged. And once that stage is through, that means even the boredom happens, by the time little pain comes, by the time little external sounds come and disturb, and you are thinking, fantasizing, daydreaming, going to pour into, because mind is so vulnerable, very weak. Under such circumstances, keeping the mind upright, keeping the mind focus only with the primary object. It's very difficult because by the time, even the primary object is very thin, very subtle, very vague. So if you are lucky to keep it, then only you will understand this completely personal thing. That experience you can't share with others. Unless otherwise you go prepared, daily you will come back home with disappointed mind. So the day you go beyond, that means calming down your body, calming down your breath, calming down the mind, and you understand completely underneath that, completely balanced, equilibrium is there. Never you can go through the senses. You have to understand the grossness, the ruggedness, the unruly nature of the senses, and without disturbing, without creating a turmoil, you must know how to ride into this inner peace through this breath, or rising and falling top or abdomen, whatever may be. When you go there, even in the Anapanasati Sutta and in the others also, you are bound to feel kind of a rapture, bound to feel kind of a gladness. Never you can feel, never you can entertain by looking at good visual objects. Never you can gain through listening to good musics. Never you can gain through good smells. Never by good foods. Never by luxurious vehicles and other furnitures. Never by your pet ideas. And when you go deep and into that, it's when the mind, with full understanding, full appreciation and full commitment, when you go there, you are bound to feel this gladness and the rapture. When that happens, you are the first experience, due to my investment of time and on the precious truth, I am going to get a thought moment free of 5 nivaranas. It is free of hatred. It is free of desire. It is free of sleepiness, because the sleepy person, the blazing bones can't go to that sphere. And the person who is entertaining doubts never thread past this level. Person endowed with so much of perplexity, so much of scattered mind, no hope to go there. And you understand this concentration training is a possibility, of course difficult, but in this very life possible. Once that is completed, but you are endowed with this, the gladness and the rapture. Even under such circumstances, you can feel a representative of your in-breath and out-breath. But never like at the beginning, never like the coolness, hot, stiffness, tension. But instead you can feel, I am not dead, this is not a hallucination. I can feel the breath in a very subtle manner. As much as you keep the track with the breath, your mind will not get bewildered. And that is the point again I am telling, you must be full of virtues and mental health, and that is the case you feel, you can see through, you can go through this materiality, the corporeality, your body. At the beginning you will say it will take about 45 minutes or sometimes over 1 hour. But if you repeat it to do it, specifically in a retreat like that, if you are going to do 2 weeks or something like that, first few days it is a struggling, and then once you come to know, after you will start to receive it, experience it by 35 minutes, 45 minutes like. Then you can go into such a deep layers and stay for longer time, and amazing, as far as the mind is free from these hindrances, or in the sense, as far as mind is restrained from this concentration, you don't feel the body, you don't feel the sensations. Of course, it's a temporary thing. And whatever the thundering sounds outside, you are not distracted. And you won't believe how this mind is free from these wandering thoughts, daydreaming, fantasizing. It is completely magnetized to this situation. Only thing is, if you try to be smart and going to think, then you are introducing unwantedly some of the 5 hindrances. And some people, those who do not appreciate it, after a while fall into sleep. So there you have to be skillful to appreciate it and maintain this vigilance, maintain this diligence. When you go there, and today I don't think we have time enough to go much deep into that. When you go there, ultimately your meditation becomes completely mind-made. The corporeality, the mentality, the physicality, the function of this heat, cold, stiffness, tension, everything represent as a feeling. You feel heat and the cold. You feel the movements and the tensions and the stiffness. You feel heaviness and the lightness. You feel the air movements and the cohesiveness and the liquidity. You feel it, and ultimately all the 4 elements represent just by feelings. And feeling is just a mentality. And under the heated atmosphere, cold is happy and pleasurable and comfortable. And the cold climate, heat is pleasurable. But heat and cold does not take the responsibility about your happiness. The happiness is an attribution by your perception. And when you are stable, try to be stable. If you are shaky, you are not happy. Then you need the stability. But when you try to be shaky, if you can't shake yourself, then it is a negative thing. Like shakiness and the stability, they are just attributes. They are just nature. They don't have good and the bad. They are just nature. And the heaviness, lightness, roughness, softness, and hardness and the smoothness, they are all attributes, but we have each and every one, according to the circumstances, we categorize it's a good and the bad. So it's a completely mental game. So once you see through them, you can understand how the mind can make whole our the mental world. And how the scientists themselves, they have come up to that level, therefore they say, wherever you go, there you are. What you see, that you are. But you will never believe unless otherwise you see through this materiality. When you go there only you understand. After you go and expose to that kind of atmosphere, mano pubbangama dhamma, mano settha, manomaya. The mind is the forerunner, mind is the supreme, everything is mind-made. Whenever you come back to the material level, you never believe that everything is mind-made. It says that the mind is made happy and unhappy due to the materiality. That is the place, the material world, that the sensuous world is reigning your atmosphere. Whenever you see through, go into that, you understand mind is the forerunner. If the mind wish, it can take it as good or bad, or good omen or bad omen, auspicious or not. It depends on the mind. Under such circumstances, there's another deep layer of calibration happen between the feeling and perceptions, sanya vedana. And for that you have to have daily have the first calibration, where the concentration and the calming down your breath body, seen through, go into this calm state, and then only you will be, after a while, training only you will be exposed to this feelings and the perception, and over there another struggle, another balancing happens. There are also humans and some people, they say they feel hallucinations, they feel mental images, they feel real smells, they feel real tastes, they feel like taken for air and going up and down, all the kind of thing. So they are also very stable virtues or moral restrainment and or a career, as well as the mental balance and preparedness must be there. And then you can understand this whole magic world, how the people are cheating each other for these cheap things. And we also caught up so far, as far as we don't understand how the mind works. It is not understanding of the theory. It is not understanding of with the grace of the teacher. It is with your trial and error. When you go there, that is why the Buddha says, even you have the full faith, the faith can do marvels. Faith can completely give auto-suggestions, just like in the hypnotism, you can do marvels. It is not untrue, it is true, but it's cheating yourself. As well as your desire, your approval, can do marvels. As well as the grace of the teacher and the lineage, the theory, everything do marvel, but is limited to circumstances. So therefore don't believe this kind of thing. As far as you are believing, you are never reaching the truth. You are just cheating yourself. You see the magic of the mind, but you never see the mind. Mind is such a crafty person, and it shows all the magics, but he himself is hiding, just like the eye. It has the capability of seeing everything, but you can never see the eye. I can't see the eye. For that there should have a reflector. So like you have to see all the tricky nature of this feelings and the perception, and seeing through, going through, getting the balance of there is the real deep core of Buddhist meditation. The early part is, of course, you find in the other traditions and the other religions also, the calming down the body and go into this balance. But then only your real meditation starts. That is why it says, after that only the vipassana starts. When the vipassana starts, only simple technique or simple mantra you have to recite again and again. Whatever you experience, this is not me, this is not mine, this is not my soul. Whatever you are going to hear, you have to say, this is not me, this is not mine, this is not my soul. Whatever you are going to smell in meditation, you have to say, this is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. Whatever the taste you are going to experience, not me, not mine, not my soul. And not whatever the lightness, heaviness, softness, hardness, roughness, anything you're going to feel, don't assume them. Soon to assume, you are facilitating and fertilizing your egocentric ideas and thinking and rationalizing. But it is naturally it is happening, but you have to slowly withdraw. And say, these feelings, not me, not mine, not my soul. And ultimately mind come out with so much of brilliant formulas, brilliant future planning, brilliant explanation for what happens. Everything is just to secure its power, just to thrive you in the samsara. You have to completely negate everything. You have to just say, this is all thinking, either praising you or denying things. It is not me, not mine, not myself. Then only you can just wean them off. You dry them off, keep them off. And while keep on going, it still precipitate, comes the very subtle situation. And when and where you calm down this pasambaya chitta sankara, that means calming down your mental formations. Chitta sankara means the feelings and the perception. You go to a place, and you feel it's a complete pure mentality. Chitta patisangvedi asasissamiti sikkati, chitta patisangvedi pasasissamiti sikkati. And that is very challengeful situation, because everything appears like just mentality, everything appears like mental formation, and balance is very subtle. Then only you feel abhipramodaya chittam, it's atipramoda, that is unbelievable, that is inalienable, unalloyed. You don't feel like coming out. Unless otherwise you go there, you will feel that Buddha is unwantedly praising his teaching, and the people, those who are practicing in unwantedly praising it, just like producers making advertisements. But once you go there, you will understand it is not like the physical products. Not easy to advertise, because you have to go and see, you have to taste and see. Then only you will understand the value of Dhamma. Abhipamodaya chittan, inalienable. The mother can't give such a thing to her own child. We can't give such a thing for any other person unless otherwise through meditation. That's why it says, the Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo, the teaching of the Buddha is as beneficial and auspicious at the beginning, at the middle and the end. This is the middle part. Early part is the one that concerns the faith, the concentration and all the kind of... When the Vipassana going to sit in, you feel it in the middle, you feel like sharing. But that is dangerous. Don't try to share with others. Only you have to tell the way. This is the way, you earn it yourself. And give the informal facilities, informal support, but otherwise you can't share it with. And with that happens, for the second time you assure yourself, your teacher is correct, teaching is correct, the other practitioners are correct, and my method is correct. So this is the way you come into practice, you come into realize, not full-fledged, but undeniably experience in this very life. When such a thing happens, it is called Satchanubodha, the understanding of Anubodha, that means understanding, not only understanding, experiencing the very teaching. And in the Karpatika, the today's, he is asking, as I mentioned in the beginning of the sutta, the discourse or the talk, he says, okay Bhante, you have taught me how to reach, how to experience it. I am asking you how to get full-fledged understanding. Then the Buddha says, the asevana, bhavana, bahulikata. He says, the Buddha says that the same thing that you have experienced, you have to, the asevana means association. I mean, touch it, come in touch with. And then the bhavana, do the same thing. Again and again. Bahulikata means 2001 times. That is the way to master it. That is the way to season it. That is the way to get it acquainted with it. So the very first experience is, and the very first convention is the most important. Once it happens, don't ask, don't wait for the complicated formulas. Don't wait to other difficult thing. Only thing is you have to repeat the same thing. And the regularity of the practice is the decisive factor. So once the Buddha given that this thing, Tesan yevaso bharadvaja dhammana asevana bhavana bahulikamma satchanupatti hoti. Same thing if you are going to practice again and again. Repeat again and again, you reach the Dhamma. So therefore the very first, as if you are learning how to climb and get the balance of the push bicycle, at the beginning you may break your neck and break your bones and all the kind of things happen. Once you come to know, you have to repeat again and again, then you will be the best cyclist. And then lucky enough, the Bharadwaja, that particular Karpatika, the question is asking Bhante, for such a repetition, what is the most proximate factor? What is the close factor? The Buddha says, Padhana, the striving. While we are doing, so much of discouragement happens. While it's happening, so much of impediments happens. So much of things happen in the day-to-day life. So much of difficulties coming, I am telling you, coming from the near and dear ones. Whole problems in the spiritual life coming from, not from the enemies, not from the outside of the universe. It's coming from your home, coming from your desired thing. And that is why the Buddha says, Tanhai jayati soko. Whatever you consider as your dear and near one, that is the source of suffering. But they don't happy to hear that. But you are the very person created that desire, the lovingness, this nearness and closeness, and when through that source only the suffering comes. So therefore, keep on practicing. The endurance is unhuman, I am telling. The human mind and the human atmosphere, human culture, human laws never allow you to practice. Therefore you have to go against the grain. Sorry to tell you. That is why it is called Patishodagami. So at that level only I thought of best thing is to declare it and become a monk. Till that I hate monks. Till that I just saw the monks as a national jokers. I had 8 years continuously criticizing monks. But once come up to that level, you understand whether you like it or not, this is the way of living. This way, if you can adjust it in such a way, in the efficiency, no other way. So I am not prescribing you all to give up all kind of thing. That is happening, don't worry about. But if you keep up to the early part of the development, when the mango is ripened, it is destined to leave the tree. That's the way it happens. But the only thing is, if you are going to throw stones and going to get immature mango and going to eat, you will end up with sour taste. But if you allow it to happen, maturity, you can eat the sweet mango. It's a matter of time. So that is why the Buddha says, once you come to know the art of earning the happiness, the gladness and the rapture, not through this inferior method of senses, but immaterial pleasure, it is leading for you to, you have to maintain striving. Keep on striving. There is a proximate factor that I would say in practical way, you regularize your timetable. Daily you have to allocate little time, even 15 minutes. Don't shake it. Keep it, adhere to that time, maintain it. And increase as soon as possible. And divide it into walking and sitting. And then further, balance of the time, at least make a determination, as well I will be mindful. So that you do things very little slowly. You try to make a pair of mindfulness and listen to your own sounds as much as possible. Then you can find that is the rest of the time also somewhat gainful. And when the sitting time, the walking time increases, you develop such an efficiency, your 8 hours job you may do in 6 hours. Not in hectic way. You plan it, do it, one thing at a time, and that done well. Don't think that you can do 2, 3 things at a time and be smart. That's the way you can mess it up. So when you develop, of course you are going to gain some hours of freedom. But my simple and humble request is, when and where you are going to get time, don't invest them on overtime work and getting more money. Don't use it for socialization. Just invest at least 50% of it for meditation. Isolate yourself. Go and sit or do walking meditation, be very crafty, get rid of these near and dear ones. That is going against the grain. So I am talking in a wrong place, in wrong country. I know it. But if you really minding your own business, you have to be very crafty and be very tactful. It is possible. It is possible. That is why what I have to say. That is why I am living in such a happy way. When I was practicing, I was working more than 24 hours. No one knows that I am practicing even. Even now, my close family friends and the sisters and brothers and friends never believed at that time I was practicing. I tried to keep it completely a secret, not to divulge even to the close ones. But in your case, you are too much advertising. Telling I am a meditator, I am a virtuous person, come to the temple, come with me and all the kind. That is the point you are missing the bus. Keep it as a secret as possible. But among the inner circle, you have to open and tell and share. But with the other people possessed with this sensuous pleasure, just dance according to their rhythm. As far as you are with them. Whenever you have the chance, come back and sit. So this is the way padhana, that is the way you have to develop the timetable fixed, and when it is going there, it will be an art of living. But the whole meditation is not art of living, it is not living to art of living, but to how to develop, how to get your timetable fixed and into the regularity, it's an art of living. So your teacher's method won't fit with you. And the winter system timetable won't fit into the summer. everything changing, but you must know where to balance. We have to find the balance. When it's going there, everywhere the balance is waiting for you, unless otherwise you come and shake hand with it. Otherwise you will say balance is something in the other worlds, and it is only possible and available at the time of the Buddha, or it is only available in countries like Sri Lanka or in India, or that kind of thing. These are all but explanations, excuses. So once you come to know the art, slowly it is maximizing. So that is, the Buddha says, repeating of the same thing is the secret to reach the Dhamma. So that is what I thought sharing with you all. Thank you very much for listening. So of course today we got completely 1.5 hours, but anyway it is my normal way to ask if there are any questions or any other clarification necessary on a statement about this. Still I would like to take a few minutes, and if there is no such thing, we can go for sharing of the merits with the known-seen and unseen and the relatives, and reminding our final aim.
Can you refresh the feelings of the first balance situation?
That is very difficult to give a package. If you come out with, then I can share with you. If you have any kind of such experience, air your views, and then I can understand to my experience whether this is the same thing or not. Whatever I am going to say, no avail for you. If my feeling is not your feeling. Individual, each is having their own feeling. So how do you relate to your experience? That will be a good thing for others also to be listened. Would you like to share?
Not now.
Huh?
Not now.
That is right. You are very, how do you call, අද සිංහල වචනේ තියෙන්නේ මේ jealous, not to share with others. You in the meditation circles, completely open trumps, play the game. You do 1,001 mistakes, but we are not going to show our colors. That is the only way. Ask his view and use the other person as your mirror and express it. And then when the criticism happens, or when the weighing happens, you slowly refine. Not otherwise. If you keep up to yourself, you will ever brooding on the same mistake and keep on doing. Okay, then, sorry, I am cutting short the answer, leaving back to yourself. If there are no other questions, we can go for normal traditional way of sharing merits. So we'll together chant the stanzas starting from Ittavata Jammehi. Ittavata Jammehi Sambatam Punya Sampadam Sabbe Deva Numodantu Sabba Sampatti Siddhya. Ittavata Jammehi Sambatam Punya Sampadam Sabbe Bhutanumudantu Sabba Sampatti Siddhya. Ittavata Jammehi Sambatam Punya Sampadam Sabbe Sattanumudantu Sabba Sampatti Siddhya. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu sāsanam. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu desanam. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu mang parang. Idang o ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idang o ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idang o ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිපානපත්තිය ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිපානපත්තිය ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිපානපත්තිය ඉදම්මේ පුඤ්ඤං ආසවක්ඛයා වං හෝතු සබ්බ දුක්ඛා පමුච්ඡතු සාදු සාදු සාදු